everyone. Welcome back to the Little Things Podcast. I am Bethany Warner, and I'm here with Rachel Hines, and we have an extra special guest visitor today, Mrs. Sherry Thimijan.
So this is definitely when our listenership goes up, because there are very few people in the world that don't know Mrs. Thimijan.
Right, the world is, I believe it, in Lincoln and in Nebraska, and maybe the whole world.
I think if we did a poll, we'd probably find at least 3 people that maybe haven't met Mrs. Thimijan.
In the town of Lincoln, 6 degrees from Mrs. Thimijan, I'm sure everyone is at least 6 degrees. It probably 3 degrees
I would
away
agree.
from Mrs. Thimijan.
I would agree. But for those couple of people that maybe haven't met Mrs. Thimijan but have only heard her name, and love to introduce her. So Mrs. Thimijan wears many wonderful hats: wife, mother, friend, daughter, grandmother. Look, she just leaned over. Grandmother. let's not forget the most important one.
Yes.
But in our realm, a teacher and just a leader of the early childhood program for decades.
She built it from scratch into this amazing program.
42 years? Is this
42.
42 years. And if you look at a picture of her 42 years ago, she still looks the same. And she still has amazing hair. But all of that to say, amazing early childhood teacher, but so incredible at sharing the love of Jesus with little people. And that is why we want her here today to talk with us and help bring. We said we were going to bring in the experts on our topics, and Sherry is definitely an expert on the topic of sharing God's word with our little people, and not just early childhood, but going all the way up. She teaches 4th grade on Wednesday nights here at Messiah, but has probably run the gamut. Did you ever do high school?
No.
No.
Didn't you used to do youth group?
Well, I
though?
did youth group.
Yeah.
That's true.
See,
That's
she's done it all.
true. I
She's done
did
it
do
all.
youth group.
And if you talk to Mrs. Thimijan as an adult, she is teaching you as well. Or she has taught me so much, and she wears Jesus on her sleeves. And
That's a great description. I
What?
love that.
Thank you.
we're embarrassing her because
She
we're, but it's true. In conversations, she is quick to point you back to Jesus, and that is a gift. And so she does it with littles, with everyone, because that's just who she is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But so what a great opportunity to have you here with us, Mrs. Thimijan.
Thank you.
Because we're talking
Thanks for having me.
more about Christmas.
I know. It's coming up. And it's such a wonderful time of the year.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's a perfect time to bring Jesus into your home
It
on
is.
an even bigger scale because of the time of year and all the different activities.
But there's so many things that want to keep Jesus away from us this time of year. As much as it's everywhere, there are all those other things that want to pull it apart, and it wants to take us away from the true meaning.
For sure.
Yes, and so we have to stay focused.
Well, and even just
Focused.
saying that, talking about Christmas is everywhere. You go in, when does it start at Hobby Lobby or the
July.
stores?
I
Yeah,
think,
you'll
yeah.
see that.
Yeah.
And Christmas, I'm putting it in air quotes, everywhere you see the trees, but how much is centered on the meaning, the true meaning of
Right.
Christmas, and how much do you see other things taking its place?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we need to start with our focus in our hearts, because the example that we set for our children, it needs to start with us. And so we have to get ourselves prepared for Christmas.
For sure.
And then as we're preparing, it will be just such a natural thing to show that to our children and have that be our focus.
How do you prepare for Christmas? Or just keep you're so focused, and you're always what is Sherry Thimijan's secret? What do you do to really prepare your
I
heart?
love the Max Lucado book, Away in a Manger. And then there's a new one, Bethlehem. I just saw it at Mardell's. His books are amazing. If you sit and start reading them now as a devotion every day, it will really set your heart for Christmas. they're just wonderful. And I do have to admit, I already have the Christmas music playing. Yeah,
So do I.
I know. Yeah. So I'm all, just keep that center. Just keep, and then the best part is I get to teach that. And so as I'm preparing to teach it, it's just putting my heart in a good place too. As I prepare for those little people, it just centers me also. So sometimes maybe even as an adult, just go and get that child's Bible and read through it. Read it, their version of it, and it will help to center you.
Oh, so something we all have in common is we've all taught children, young children, older children, high school age children. Have you found in your experience as you're preparing for a children's message to teach that for me, I dig in so far into even if it's a simple verse because I hold that responsibility so tightly, and what a privilege to be able to share God's word, and I don't want to get it wrong, which is probably a little bit OCD, but when I'm preparing to teach young children, I find myself really getting more out of that simple verse. Like, I don't know.
I think that's what I feel like with my volunteers on Wednesday night or any volunteers of like, this is such a great opportunity for all people because you spend so much time in God's word preparing. It's such a good experience. And I don't know. I think that the Bible is so deep and rich and maybe complex, but also it's so simple. Yeah. And those children's messages of Christmas is exactly what we all need. That's what our hearts need. It's just Jesus.
Yeah.
There's also another book at Mardell I just found this week called A Jesus Christmas, Exploring God's Amazing Plan for Christmas. It's very simple, and it's a great one to use with your family. So I bought it, and I'm using it with my fourth graders that I teach on Wednesday night, and we started last night with it. And they just enjoyed it so much, and it just goes way back to Satan, the temptation in the garden, Adam and Eve, and how back there in that story, it was already leading the way to Jesus and his birth. And, of course, then to salvation for all of us.
What's the name of the book again? It's
called A Jesus Christmas, Explore God's Amazing Plan for Christmas.
Love it.
And it's half price at Mardell right now.
Ooh.
Who's going to be our sponsor? No.
Yeah. So focus is the first thing.
Focus. Yeah, just focus. And always reminding, what is Christmas about? What is most important? So minimize the Santa talk. Now,
that was
Santa comes up.
The hot take
The
that
hot
Bethany
take.
had last podcast.
Santa's going to come up. He's everywhere too. And he's going to come up. And I've always, in preschool, I've not ever said, Santa's bad, I don't like him, or we don't like him, or we're not going to talk about him. I would just take that talk about Santa and say, oh, look at that. That's fun. Or, just a light little comment when it was brought up, and then take it and turn it immediately to, but what's the most important thing? What do we need to remember? And if you just say that in a gentle way, they'll all go, Jesus. And I go, yeah, that's what we need to remember. So you just minimize the talk, because the more you say no to it, then the more it looks really inviting. Yeah. So just minimize it.
It can just be fun pretend.
Yeah, fun pretend. And just say, oh, that's a fun thing. Santa's fun. But what's most important? Just always bring it back to that, to what are we really celebrating? Okay? And then keep it really simple. Keep things simple for children. Doesn't have to be complicated at home.
We make things so complicated.
We do.
And then we put a lot of stress on ourselves.
Yeah.
To make it better, and so simple's the best. Establish traditions that enable family members to spend time together. However you can do that.
What were some of the Thimijan family traditions, or are some of the Thimijan family traditions?
Well, when my children were small, we always went and chopped down the Christmas tree. We did. We did not have an artificial tree until, it was my grandson was about 5 when we bought the first artificial tree.
Oh,
we
wow.
always went, and he's
That's been a
17.
long, yeah.
And so we always would go to a Christmas tree farm and cut down the tree, make a whole day of it.
That
And
is so fun.
And that is so fun, putting it up and, just cutting it and running around. We even made a family movie about it once.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
My son had his movie camera, and we made a fun little movie about going to the Christmas tree farm. So we watch it.
That's adorable. How old was everyone then?
Well, they were older. There were no grandchildren, and my son was probably about 22 when we did that.
Oh, that's really cool. So
That's amazing.
your kids did it with you every year, even into adulthood.
Even into adulthood.
That's really special. Those are
very
those good
special.
traditions where
Yeah.
the kids are, no, we want to keep doing this.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
important.
So when I hear this story, I just picture a Hallmark Christmas movie of everybody getting along, singing Christmas carols and everything perfect. Were there ever any spicy moments? Was there ever any arguing, or was everybody
No.
Well,
just
there was a flat tire once
Ooh.
in the station wagon. So the station wagon had a flat tire. Yeah, and it was really cold, and poor Mike's out there trying to change it in the wind, and
Oh, gosh.
and yeah, but he did, and yeah.
So the answer to that question was no. It really truly
Most
was
of the
like
time,
a Hallmark
most of
movie.
the time it was really very. Most of the time, it was very positive. Yeah, fun time. Have
Do
great
you
memories.
still watch that video that you made? Is
Yes.
that part of your tradition
Yes.
now that you still every year?
We get a little sad when we watch it now because Mike's in it, and of course Mike's been gone now 8 years, and so it does.
It's hard.
We do get a little sad when we watch it,
Happy
but
sad.
that happy sad, right?
Yeah.
And then it's really good to see him, and we were having so much fun that day. We had a little dog, and so we had the dog for almost 14 years. So Shorty, the dog, Shorty would go with us, and we have pictures of Shorty running around out in the field, and yeah.
That sounds amazing. I love it.
I
It was
kind of
fun.
want to go cut down a Christmas
It's
tree
fun.
this
Yes,
year.
Have you ever
do.
had a real tree?
Growing up, we always did.
Did you?
We cut it down, but too many allergies in our house now.
Yeah. We have cats. I feel like it wouldn't work well with cats.
We have a lot of anxiety too. I think I would worry about fires.
Oh, yeah.
But
But it's a really romantic idea. It's
Yes.
a great idea. Okay, what's your next tip?
Okay. So help children keep Christ in Christmas by using pictures, symbols, decorations, songs, stories. Let them be part of the decorating. Stars, shepherds, angels, candles. Candles. Put the candles and talk about Jesus being the light of the world.
Do you have an Advent wreath at your
Advent
house?
wreath, yes. Love Advent wreaths. I think it's great to have that countdown and that anticipation. But what's really good is have a little Bible verse with each one of those days. Get your Bible out and say, okay, this is our Bible verse for day 1 or day 2. And of course, have that little piece of candy.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
Because that makes it fun, but make sure that you're just like, okay, it's Advent time. We're gonna open that little door or whatever. We'll get our candy. Let's read what it says. Let's get our Bibles out. Read what it says, and make it a family time.
Yeah. We have someone gifted us a set of ornaments that are little books, and it's a 1 through 25, and it
great.
tells the Christmas story in each little book. And so we would read it, and then we'd go back and, like, if it was day 15, we'd start at 1 and just summarize all the books. So it would take, by the day 25, it took like 20 minutes to do it. But it was fun, yeah.
Well, and children learn through repetition. So by doing that, you've just really
And we bought our
embedded
own,
that story
her
in your
own
heart.
little Christmas tree for her room where she put the ornaments on it. And it was fun.
very cute.
I think the idea of letting them have their own little tree is fun too.
Which is like, you can go to Hobby Lobby and get one for $10 or less. Remember the little tree you got me last year?
I do.
I'm excited to get it out. It'll be at my
cute.
desk, yes.
I have one too. I'm going to get it out too. I had a thought when you were just saying that.
We do that a lot.
Oh, I remember. No, do you know what I did one year with my grandboys? This was fun. I wrapped up a book for every day for them to open.
That's a lot of books.
It was a lot of books. It was a lot of work now that I
For
think
each
about
child?
it. No, it was one book for the family.
Oh, okay.
So then we would open it up. And I tried to work them as much as I could around the Christmas story or somehow have it related in some way. That was some time ago I did that. But it was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And we had numbers on the book. So every night we would open a book and we would sit as a family and read the book together.
Can you imagine Mrs. Timijan as your grandma?
No, I'm gonna.
Well, see, that was
be Mrs. Thimijan.
That was
That's the kind of grandma.
that was the Christmas I lived with them when I was building my house, and that's why it worked.
Yeah.
Because I was right there in the house. If it wouldn't have been in the house, it wouldn't have worked. I mean, it would have been too hard for me to get there every day, but I was right there.
But it really goes back to what we talked about last podcast as well. Just that sometimes we think about gifts, we have to give the gift, but really that gift of that time and the memory. I wonder if you asked your grandsons if they remember it.
that.
And I
I'm
think
sure.
about the time we were so blessed to have my mom. She would come and stay with us for months at a time. And our kids will talk about those memories of even just sitting down, something we do with them every night, reading a book, doing a devotion. But it was more special because it was grandma. And in that time that she devoted just to them, just to our family, what
a gift.
A gift, yeah.
It's
Amazing.
great fun.
With what you were saying too, of just easy thing of listening to Christmas music. There's a lot of silly and fun Christmas music, but so much Christmas music on the radio is Jesus
It
music.
is.
Popular Silent Night or Joy to the World. And that's the best words to be putting in your little children's minds.
104.5 out of Omaha right now already has Christmas
Yeah.
music on. So it's on my radio. Yeah. So, as we enter this season, or we're definitely running towards it right now, slow it down. Slow it down at home as much as possible. So,
How do you do that? Because I get to see this woman almost every day.
Yeah, right.
And the words slow and down would be not two words I would use to describe her. So how do you do that? You have to be really purposeful about it.
I try to prepare ahead as much as possible. I used to. Okay, this is going to sound silly. When you would send out a lot of Christmas cards when I was younger, and I would really do Christmas cards, I would address them in the summer.
Oh my
I would sit in the
goodness.
summer and I would address the envelopes. So
That's
because it's a
amazing.
lot of work to send out Christmas, I don't send them out anymore. But anyway, so as I'm saying that, just try to prepare ahead if you can. Just even food, if there's something you can prepare ahead, do it now. You have an afternoon to do it. Cook some of that, put it in the freezer. Do whatever you can to slow it down, especially when you get more and more towards that week of Christmas. Because as moms, we wear ourselves out trying to make it all perfect. We want it to be perfect and magical.
Yes.
And so we'll wear ourselves out. So if anything you can do ahead of time, make your cookie dough, put it in the freezer. Just do whatever you can. Wrap some. I used to hide presents around my house. I'd wrap them ahead of time, and then I'd try to hide them so nobody would see them, because then they'd want to open them. But just trying to be ready. I was thinking about this the other day, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun if some moms would get together and just have an afternoon or an evening and just do a bunch of pre-Christmas cooking together.
You could even do gift wrapping.
And you could even
Yeah.
do gift wrapping.
And then you get
That's
that
true.
gift of fellowship with
Yeah.
one another,
Yeah.
conversation. So it's not drudgery.
No,
It's
no,
enjoyable.
When
And
you've
those
got-
jobs are always more fun when you're with other people.
they
and-
are.
Yeah.
And just do some things. And maybe as you're talking, one mom will have a better idea than you about something that can be prepared ahead of time, or just to get that input from each other and help each other. How can we get ready to slow it down so that week especially, we can just really enjoy it all.
Well, and hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
You need that group of people that are surrounding you that hold Christ as the most important part of
Right.
Christmas, and to be able to verbalize that to one another or set that example. And if we're surrounded by other people that hold that most important, rather than the world that's telling us get more gifts, make sure your house is perfectly decorated. You probably should have the best Christmas cookies, all those important things. But to say, oh, Rachel, you're doing great. But
Yeah.
what should your focus be?
When you said that, suggested a mom group, that's where my brain went first, was how it could be that negative of, but then you see what everyone else is doing and I'm not doing enough. But if you get the right people of, I think that's why we can so isolate ourselves, because we immediately think, oh, if I let someone in, they're going to see how my recipes are not very interesting, or we didn't get the best gifts this year, That's sad.
It is. But then
Yes,
also
but the flip side
freeing.
of that,
Yes.
look how wonderful that could be to have that time together, just to build each other up. This is what I do, and someone go, wow, I didn't think about that. That would work great for our family. Just to talk. We really need each other.
We do.
In this world, we really do. We
And
need to take the time for each other and just build each other up and just communicate. And
Give
it
grace.
doesn't have to be a competition.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, people compete, but I think if you approach it the right way, it could be a beautiful thing, don't you?
Yeah.
Well,
I
let's
do.
start a mother's group and do it.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Let's start wrapping those presents.
Can it be a grandmother's group?
Well, it's going to have to be a grandma.
I'm running out of.
You start
young
the group
children.
and the grandmas will come in and give
There
our
you go.
input. How's that? Because holidays, there's so much anxiety that can affect us, and it could really help to have the support of others. So maintaining your routine is good too during the holidays as much as you can. Maintain that, especially with little ones. They get so tired. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you see a little one throwing a fit during the holidays, they're tired.
Yes.
That's more than anything.
And we've talked so much about how these little people, for themselves, they can't regulate themselves. They have to use their person to regulate, to co-regulate.
That's right.
And if mom or if grandma's the caregiver, whoever is totally stressed out because they've overbooked themselves and overcommitted themselves during the Christmas season, then little one doesn't have that co-regulator. So another good reason to slow it down.
Slow it down.
And if we make the expectation so great of us, then we're working. Nothing's ever going to go perfectly right. And then you just miss out on the
You miss
joy
out.
and the year of your child was this age. And you could be present and joyful, or stressed out and distanced the whole time. And
You don't get this time back. And it goes so fast. Too fast. So try to overbook your family schedules as much as you can. Have extra quiet time when possible. And watch all those sweet things. I know, they're so tempting, all the sweets to eat.
oh, the food, I know.
Yeah,
I've
the
already,
food. And just have those sweets, but make sure that you're balancing it with good nutrition and lots of water to drink, right?
I just heard balance it with lots of coffee.
Coffee.
Oh, wait, no, water.
So involve your child as much as possible in the experience. Involve them. And that can be through that advent calendar, homemade ornaments, that child's tree. Make sure there's a nativity they can play with.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
you've got grandma's beautiful glass one here that's been passed down, so no one can break it. But give them one they can play with. They love to do that. They love to take that little baby Jesus and they hold him in their hands and they look at him, talk to him. I've seen it. It's so sweet. It's good.
I played with the nativity growing up a lot. Do you remember doing that?
So something wild we never had a nativity set in our home. It was, but all my grandparents did. And I don't know why. I should ask. My mom has one now, but probably because maybe we were destructive. And she's like, I don't want to do that to poor baby Jesus. I don't know. But going to my grandparents' house when we were there on Christmas, that's where the cousins always were, was by the nativity set and just playing and bringing the Christmas story to life. Some great memories.
Having baby Jesus ride the donkey's back, and good times.
Are you guys watching, or have you watched The Chosen?
No.
I have.
So we're just barely starting watching it, so I haven't seen very many. But there was one of the episodes in the first season is Jesus and the children, and it's such an interesting interpretation. Obviously, they're interpreting God's word, but of Jesus just interacting with young children. And you're watching, they're like, these children are playing around Jesus, and Jesus is having this conversation, and it's so cool. And it just makes me really think, all these things that we strive so much for, to have the perfect, all children want is for us to be present and to notice them and play with them and
Be loved.
yeah.
Be loved, right. That is so true. I think did I read that the Christmas part of The Chosen is going to be shown in theaters? I heard, okay, well, we're going to have to investigate. Because
That might be true, that might not be true.
I saw it somewhere that it was
Scott,
going
you
to
should
be
Google it.
shown in the theaters.
He's pretending like he can't hear us.
Okay.
He could get away with that with you and I, Bethany, but he
Not
he
with
can't
Mrs.
get
Thimijan.
No. There will be comments in the comment section.
I don't know if there is a comment section, but
I don't know either. There should be.
Yeah.
There will be now.
So then we get to the gift part with children. I love to buy gifts. I'm a gift giver. I love
You
to buy
definitely
gifts.
are.
And so I can really overdo it. It's a problem I have. I have to be careful with that. So how do you make sure the children, they love the gifts, you love doing it for them, make sure you don't overdo it, but then how do you balance that and show them that it isn't always about what they're going to get, that we should be giving. So you have to figure out how to get that balance of giving back.
Did you ever do servant events around Christmas with your kids, or like intentionally do stuff like that?
We'd do caroling, where we would carol and give people, we did some things like that where we would try to be present for people more than anything, give them our time and our caroling. I did that. We did not ever go like to a food pantry or anything like that and
do the angel tree.
We'd do the angel tree. But whatever it could be even as close as a neighbor. Maybe you have an elderly neighbor that you could just go and say, what can we do? Could we rake up all those leaves that fell off your tree yesterday, like what happened to mine? What could we do for you? What we want to give to you? Just always trying to help your children see that there's opportunities to give to others.
In non-material ways.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and even those Christmas boxes right now. I would take my grandsons and we would pick out, when they were little, I would have them help me pick out what to put in those boxes.
That's for the Operation Christmas Child boxes, yeah?
So however you can show them that giving, it isn't all about getting, that we need to make sure we give.
It's such a hard lesson.
That
for these
is a hard
children.
one. That's a hard one. It is.
But so important.
But so important. It really is.
What? Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I was going to ask you what your favorite Christmas gift you've ever received is. That's a lot
As
of
a
thinking.
child or as an adult?
It doesn't matter.
We shared our childhood gifts last time.
Our most memorable.
My most memorable is from my grandmother. Okay. I'm going to tell you, I was her favorite. And I'm not just saying that because what happened is she bought everybody. It was my sisters. I have 3 sisters. Then I had some cousins that were girls. And she bought everyone, these big dolls, these really tall dolls. Every doll had blonde hair except mine. And mine had the dark hair.
Did your sisters have dark hair? Was
You know,
everyone else blonde?
No, everyone was kind. We kind of had sandy brown hair, but my grandmother was kind of. Well, what do I want to say? How do I want to say it? She did definitely let everyone know I was her favorite.
Oh my
And I
goodness.
remember that, and I remember me getting this special doll, and everyone else just got blonde hair dolls.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's a memory. I remember it. I don't remember much more about it, but I even as a child knew, ooh, I got the special doll. My husband gave me many wonderful, my husband would just really think through Christmas and what that present was going to be. So he would always try to surprise me, which was nice.
That is nice.
Yeah.
And so, even saying that, do you think it was the gift, or was it that you knew how much thought Mike put into getting that gift for you?
Oh, it was how much he put into it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he would put. And one thing was, it was always one was not enough. I'd always get two of. And it would always be like if it was one necklace, I'd get two necklaces. If it was he always doubled up on things. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Maybe you couldn't choose just one.
I don't know. Yeah, but he always put a lot of thought into it.
That's sweet.
Yeah,
So
it's very sweet.
as we give the gifts, I think it's good to think of thoughtful over quantity. I guess quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Because you can get 100 million little things, or you can get one that's really from the heart, or something that I know you and I got you this because of that.
Yeah. I have received from children so many wonderful things that were truly from the heart, from them and from their families, which is real sweet. Now, do I need 10 bottles of soap? No.
Do you just use Christmas soap all year round? Because you probably
It depends on the year.
Yeah.
Let's just say right now there are a lot of germs going around.
That's right.
You might need.
No, but it's the love and thought behind it. It isn't the item. It
And their
really
faces.
isn't.
Don't you
And
think their faces when they get to present you?
Yeah.
Oftentimes, I don't think that they know what's in the package, but the fact that they get to be the gift giver and share and give something.
And sometimes they'll tell you ahead of time, we got you a present. You know, and I'm not supposed to tell you, do you know what it is?
Yeah.
And then,
I still do that.
So that, isn't that wonderful that they have that heart that they want to give? We just need to help them be able to do it. If we're always, just buying for them and for others, and we're not helping them learn how to give, they have to have that opportunity, and they're too little to get in the car and go to the store themselves. So we need to give them the opportunities.
And it's a lot easier for you as the adult to just go by yourself
Sure
to
it
Target
is.
or wherever and get a bunch of stuff and come home and wrap it and then let the kid involve them in the process. I have a memory. This is a silly memory of being my second grade teacher was a male, and he loved the Hawkeyes. I was in second grade, so maybe I should have known better, but we were walking in the store and I saw a pair of boxers. I was like, oh, it was the Hawkeyes. I'm like, we should get those for Mr. Larson. My mom's like, no. It was the thought that counts.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I probably didn't need to share that story. But those little hearts do want to give and show their love that they're, given every day. They want to give back.
Well, and talking about modeling for us as the adults and the parents, the grandparents, to model for our children, if we're not only taking them to go get those gifts, but even modeling that, okay, let's really think about this. I'm thinking about Bethany. I really want to get Bethany something, but what is going to be meaningful? And we can talk through that process with them so that we're showing them that we're not just going to go grab something that's within budget off the shelf or something, but something that we have actually thought about.
Right.
And something that's appropriate.
Yeah, and not maybe not boxer shorts.
I learned.
That makes me think of Elf, the movie Elf, when he buys doesn't he buy a gift? I don't know. I only see parts of movies, so I should never speak to a movie because I'm probably wrong. I can't sit through a whole one.
I'm gonna share one Christmas memory that just popped in my head. My mother had passed, and it was the first Christmas without her, and she loved Christmas. Oh, she loved getting ready for it. And my father was at our house, and my husband had ordered him a study Bible from Concordia. And we were all at my house. It was in the afternoon, and there was a storm coming. It was really a bad let's see, I'm trying to remember what year that was, but there was a big storm coming, and we were supposed to have our gathering was going to be in the evening, but we switched it to afternoon because of the storm. So we're at my house, we're going through doing everything that we wanted to do as much as we could because everyone had to get to their own homes because of the storm. And it was really starting to snow outside, and we finished up, and we were about ready to leave, and my dad's standing at the door, and the doorbell rings, and my husband opens it up, and it's a UPS man with a package, and my husband takes it, and he hands it to my dad, and he says, "This is for you." And my dad's like, "What?" But, it just came from UPS. And it was a study Bible that my husband had bought for him. And I thought that timing was just so perfect. It's snowing, it's Christmas. We had just had a wonderful afternoon together, and here was that gift arrived just in time for my dad to take it home.
Just in time.
Just in time.
And God's timing is always perfect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And those little things, like a study Bible coming right in the nick of time, or just spending a quiet evening listening to Christmas music, reading the Advent stories, focusing on Jesus. Those are the things that really fill up our hearts and focus our minds on Jesus. Mm-hmm. Those little things that we can spend time with our families doing. And thank you so much for sharing that with us, Mrs.
You're welcome.
Timijan.
Thanks for
You're
having me.
You're a lovely guest.
Thank you for having me.
This has been a Messiah Lutheran Ministry production. Subscribe to Messiah Lutheran on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can also find our worship services and our Sermon Extra podcast by searching Messiah Lincoln on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our content. If you'd like to know more about Messiah Ministries, visit messiah.us. We'd love to hear from you as well, so please email us at littlethings@messiah.us.